Hello, hi, welcome back to my channel. I hope all is well this morning for you guys. Um, yeah, so today I just wanted to talk a bit about energy, what I've learnt about energy, like the importance of it and the importance of like protecting your energy, really. Um, so, energy, how to explain? So, energy is everywhere, it is literally everywhere, and energy is forever moving, so it's a movement. People of melanin, we're able to generate our own energy, which means, so a lot of the time when you spend a lot of time on your own, you actually feel more energized. So when you've had some time to yourself, you're kind of like, yep, I'm ready for the world. If that's you, yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? So some are able to generate it, and some actually need other people to get that energy. So which is why it's very, very important to be aware of who you're around. If you're someone that generates your own energy, you need to be wary about who you're around, because there are people out there that are just going out there intentionally, just trying to find people that they can latch onto and take from, if that makes sense. So that was one of the hardest things I've had to learn, really. I was surrounded by people that were just doing that. So I've kind of learned a lot about the signs through research and through my own experiences. So we are all vessels of energy. Emotions are energy. Emotions are basically, it means emotion, energy in motion. So that's emotion, energy in motion. So this is why, so whenever you're feeling something, you do notice it comes and it goes. It's moving on. It's just going. Okay. So which is why it's just so important not to cling on to it. So you can acknowledge it. It's okay to feel emotions. It's okay to it is okay to feel emotions. Like, they can tell you a lot about a situation. They can, your heart is like a brain in itself. Your brain doesn't actually control your heart. It's like your heart actually controls itself. It's a brain. So it can, you can learn a lot from it. Like, if your heart is feeling uncomfortable in one situation, you can listen to it and just be like, right, I'm uncomfortable for some reason, I gotta go. Like, that's literally what it is. But it's like when you cling on to the emotions, so clinging on is like latching on and choosing to, if it's an angry emotion and you notice when you cling on to it, it gets worse and worse and worse, and like the thought is just like getting bigger and bigger and bigger too. It is all linked, but it's that's when you're spiraling into a thought pattern that's not necessarily actually good for you. So you can actually just, it's important just not to latch on to it unnecessarily, and just let it go and let it like carry on moving. Yeah, if that makes sense. So yeah, so ways, yeah, so it's just so important just to protect your energy. So when your energy is high, you would notice that you are more, more motivated, more productive, just higher levels. You just feel less tired. You're, yeah, just energetic, energetic. So you're more vibrant, more energetic, more just flowing and everything. Whereas if you're low in energy, that's when you're just really tired and yeah, just drained and like maybe a bit depressed. So it's just being aware of how, like, it's important to know, like, to check in on yourself, to just know how you're feeling in a given moment. If you're going to meet someone, it's really good to just kind of like notice how you're feeling before, in terms of energy levels, and then how you're feeling after you meet this person. So this is one thing that I wish I'd been told, because a lot of my old friendships, I would find when I'd meet them, I would be in a very maybe uplifted mood. I'd be very happy, and by the time I leave, I'm like, I'm drained. I just want to go to bed. I'm just like, when you're dragging your feet home and you're like, what just happened? Like, why am I so tired? And you notice that the other person is actually getting more, like, you meet them, they seem like, and then by the end of it, they will always say, you always make me feel better. Oh, yeah, thank you. And I'm just feeling worse. So just be conscious of that. That's it basically happening. They're taking your energy, they're feeling more uplifted, you're feeling more down. And you will notice the more down you get, the more they feel uplifted. That is a big major sign, because the way it works, like fear and everything, they seem to like really latch onto that, and that actually they seem to love it. So just be very, very wary of that. So I had to learn that way. So if you are feeling more drained after meeting someone for whatever particular reason, obviously it can happen occasionally, that's fine. But if it's an everyday thing, if it's like you see that every time you see them, then you know they're doing it consciously. Because a lot of the times we've all done it before, like be it unintentionally and intentionally. I don't know. I wouldn't know how to do it intentionally, but there are times where you've met people and you feel uplifted and they feel a bit drained, and that happens. But and it's good to be conscious of how you're acting in certain situations to make sure you're not doing that. Just be monitoring how they're feeling as well as yours, if that makes sense. But so that's one way. Another way is if they always, like every time you leave them, it's like you are thinking of something that you weren't thinking of before, and you were worrying about it, like, for days after, something that you didn't even think about, something that that's not necessarily needed to think about, but you are now suddenly in that cycle. You are like, oh my gosh, why can't I get that one thing that person said out of my head? And I am just there. Because the thing is, the more energy you put into that thought, they will tell you it, and then the more energy you put into that thought, the more it will amplify, the more it becomes real, if that makes sense. So if that ever happens, as long as you're conscious of it, you'd be like, hang on a minute, I wasn't thinking about this before. Is it necessary for me to be worrying about this? If it's not necessary, if it's got nothing to flip and do with your life or your everyday life, just ditch it. Just literally imagine it's a piece of paper and just like sprinkle it up and just throw it, lob it. It doesn't, like, it shouldn't matter. And just, you need to stop seeing these people, because if it's all the time, like, I'm not saying ditch anyone if it just happens occasionally. We all get in really bad, this world is crazy, so we can all get in really bad states, and without meaning to, we are like unburdening onto someone else. But be conscious of that too, on your end. But if it's all the time, no, stay away. So this whole world, when you think about it, this whole system is set up on fear. And you kind of, like, when you start thinking of it in that way, so all the time it's set up so that your energy is just given in the wrong places rather than yourself. So the whole idea is you're supposed to be investing that energy into your growth, your development, your successes, your dreams, and then it will kind of all balance out. Like, you will start loving people on the outside. I don't know if you watch my self-love videos, because it basically just explains how, like, self-love, the more you love yourself, the more you're able to give love in a safe and comfortable way, rather than putting yourself in situations where you're loving the wrong people, where you're giving your energies to the wrong people. But it all comes down to the way you love yourself. But sorry, going back onto topic, but you will notice that this world, this system is set up to just promote fear. Everything you watch on the news, everything you read in the newspapers, you don't even know if it's real. Like, a lot of these stories could just have been made up, plonked in there, and then job done. Yes, we've inflicted fear on the masses and all that shit. And that, you overthinking is using energy. You overthinking bad thoughts is using energy. When you think positive thoughts, that's actually giving yourself energy. So positive, is good, positive thinking. Whereas when you give a negative thought, it drains you. Like, sometimes it's the mental thinking actually is so much, it uses actually more energy than physical exercise. So when you think of it in that way, this is why the mind is so important to look after. It uses so much more energy than if you were going to exercise physically. So the power of the mind, we really need to start really knowing this. So when we're watching the news and we're just constantly fed all these scary things that makes you overthink it, it's basically a ploy just to deplete you, just to get you into a weaker state. So when you're, even all the way the cars have been built and everything, you're scared of crossing the road sometimes, you're scared of someone coming to your house, or you're scared of, it's just fear everywhere. If you lose your wallet, it's like the worst thing in the world. When I talk about fear, I'm talking about anger, everything, like all the negative emotions. So it's just being really conscious of what is in place around you to make you feel a certain emotion, and just really think, do I have to be feeling this? Is this something that's actually going to affect me badly? What is the worst that can happen? And majority of the time, when you ask yourself, what is the worst that can happen? It's never as bad as what your brain is making you think it is, if that makes sense. So just say you lose your keys. It's annoying. It's annoying when you lose your keys. Just say you lose your keys. But honestly, the worst thing that could happen is, rather than you just thinking, oh no, I'm panicking, that will just stop you mid-track. You'll be like stood there being like, and you're not thinking clearly. You're not thinking of solutions, you're thinking of the problem. Whereas if you were to just not think of it as a problem, go home, you most likely will start seeing, oh, there's a way in. Or, I'll phone some, I can actually get a locksmith in or something. So just little things like that, rather than spiraling into the whole idea that I've lost my keys, is understanding that problem, it doesn't end at the problem. You need to be thinking of a solution more than anything, more than the problem. We're taught to worry about the problem more than actively think about a solution. And when you're worrying, that's draining your energy. So when you finally do get to the point of thinking of the solution, your energy levels are so low that you're not thinking as clearly as you should have. Whereas you should have been thinking of the solution from the word go. So when you're really thinking about how energy is how you can build your own energy and how it can be used up, so it's not just in movement, it's all the thoughts. So just be wary of that. And there's going to be people there that will inflict all these worries. Oh, you've lost your keys. What are you going to do? Oh my gosh, are you going to sleep on the street? No, there's going to be people that will do that, or there's going to be people in your life that'll be like, oh yeah, let's sort it out. We can sort it. Don't worry. And those are the people you kind of want in your life, people that promote positive thinking. Obviously, it's not possible to be happy all the time, but it is possible to be in control of your emotions, because if you latch on to them, that's when, the more you latch on, that's when you're most prone to going into the severe things, like conditions like depression, anxiety and stuff. So you've got to nip it at the bud. When you're first feeling angry, just take time out and just think, why am I feeling angry? Is it really worth it? Oh, it's not. Okay, now let's fix it. Because, yeah. So just one way of monitoring really if your energy is being used or bad, just monitor your levels, your energy levels. Are you thinking more positive thoughts? Are you thinking more negative thoughts? Just analyze every part of your body. So the thoughts, the heart, how is my heart feeling? Is it stressed, or is it just calm? Is my head stressed, or is it calm? What's my instinct saying? That's the third brain. Is it going ooh, is it really uncomfortable, or is it calm? So it's all about maintaining the balance of the three brains, basically. That's how I view it. You've got to not just monitor your thoughts. We're just taught to just, what am I thinking? We're taught to kind of ignore your heart and ignore your instincts, your gut, but actually that equally just as important as your mind. So just be conscious of that. Just really just keep tabs of all three of your brains. Make sure they're okay in a given situation about someone, and if in any way it's given any indication that it's a no, listen to it, and don't meet that person again. So if you've met someone and you are feeling tired and your brain is oh, I'm tired, and your heart's heavier, it's your brain's basically telling you what to do, and we shouldn't be ignoring it. That's what I spent my whole life doing, ignoring it. Oh, I don't know, it's really weird there. I don't know what it is. I had a face scrub this morning, so it might be that. But yeah, so yeah, guys, that's that's my chat for today. It was a bit brief, not brief, it's never brief, is it? I'm a chatterbox, but yeah, we'll be expanding more on energy things and stuff. And on the Facebook page, I'll be posting a bit more, a few videos and sources that I've got. Young Pharaoh, he does explain it more in scientific sense. So I watch a lot of his videos because he's very scientific in his explanations. So I just recommend checking him out. His older videos just talk a lot about energies and stuff like that. So give him a go if you want to know a bit more in scientific terms, because I'm not a scientist.